about
Lansdale Hardcore. Yeah.
I started going to shows in Lansdale when I was 13 or 14. The first show I saw, I think, was All Else Failed, Inkling, Dysphoria, and Fairmont. And I think Charlie Brown Gets a Valentine played too with their amp broke. And it immediately enthralled me. There was a sense of community there you weren't getting anywhere else. And I remember just when I was younger, I wanted to play music professionally. It's like all I wanted to do. But all I was seeing were bands, you know, like the 182 and Green Day and MXPX, and they were on these massive stages, and I was, you know, myself with a bass guitar, whatever, with my friends in a basement. I didn't know that there was another level, didn't know there was a bridge until I found, you know, Lansdale Hardcore and started coming to shows there and started seeing there was a whole community that you could become a part of. You could perform for your friends, you could perform for people that wanted to see you on a smaller level and kind of figure it out from there, you know, build your way up through it. That show totally rearranged my life. I think the guys from Inkling who went on to be in the Minor Times played this incredible set, just some of the tightest musicianship I've seen still. And I remember playing the last song on the first EP, and it just stops at the end, and Brian's supposed to be doing the I Am My Own Mountain part, but I remember the whole crowd doing that and just thinking, like, fuck it, like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of something like this. I want to be a part of the energy. And then from then on, it was, you know, every weekend I was at shows as often as I could. I was playing in bands of my own. You know, I was always hanging out with people, you know, Dave and James Heimer and, you know, Jay, and a lot of the guys were really helpful in kind of showing you what to do and almost like big brothering me to an extent. Not just me, but, you know, everyone else. I think compared to a lot of the other people that were interviewed in this or who I'm hearing was interviewed, I think maybe I'm a generation younger or generation music scene wise. So a lot of those guys really mentored us a lot, and it taught me a lot about it. And still, I play music my entire life. I tour professionally. I sing in a band called the 20 Years, and my whole life is playing music and revolves around punk rock and hardcore, and it all started in Knights of Columbus Hall in Lansdale. Some of my fondest venue memories were venues that I booked. I really wanted to be a part of everything and really wanted to help make sure that it was going to continue forward. So when I was 14 or so, I started booking shows myself, and I did a couple shows at this church on Broad Street. It was the corner of 4th and Broad, and it was such a fucking perfect setup for shows. Just the right size room. It had a stage. You didn't have to use it if you didn't want to. I remember that being the first local show where I saw a stage dive, which actually also was Dave, who dove over Nick and James and everyone else in Nutbox and took out somebody.
April Fender.
I
have a video of it. I'll get you a clip.
Okay, good.
Leavenworth played, Nutbox played, Nain played.
No Outlet.
Minkus, and I feel like there was one more.
Al's band. Wheeling Bitch Circus.
Because that dude that I don't even remember his name now. God damn.
Alan Eustace?
No. The kid who was playing bass in it, who used to be in a name.
Andy.
It was Andy's band. I was like, oh yeah, of course Andy's band can play. It's going to be awesome. I think I made them headline too.
Yeah.
And Leavenworth opened because someone had to go somewhere right afterwards. Yeah. I don't know. I was 14 or 15 years old. I just wanted to, you know, help out and be a part of it. Lansdale YMCA was always great and terrible at the same time because you had this gigantic room, but there were a lot of restrictions put on everything, and there was a lot of people coming and going through there, and kind of cracked down on it being ours. It almost became like co-opted by the people at the YMCA. So Menlo Park was great in Percy. It's where I play one of my first shows, just like an outdoor venue. Holman's Grove is like a favorite of mine. We were having shows outside of Holman's Grove in the middle of November. No one gave a fuck. It was just like, if there was nowhere else to play, you could rent that place super cheap. It was literally a pavilion in a field, nothing else to it. And there was a porta potty and a rope swing out into the woods. And no matter what time of year it was, we would try to have shows there and pack it full of people, and everyone would dance and everyone would have a great time, and then you, I don't know, I guess build up some heat from that, pretend like you did. I remember Wayne and Spiro tried to do a slacker show there in February, and they had this whole plan where they were going to hang up tarps
and make a tent.
Yeah, and make it into a tent, and like they had space heaters rented, and they brought out a trailer. And Wayne told me they put the trailer in the field the day before, and got out of the trailer, and the guy from across the street like came over with his shotgun and was like, "You're not building any houses here." And Wayne was like, "No houses, no houses. It's just for, God damn it, we're having a show." And then it obviously was February and glacially rained and winds and everything got ruined, and they had to cancel the thing. We had shows at Skate 309, which was a roller skating rink. We had shows at Cheap Skates, which was a skate park. The VFW was the biggest one though for me. That was when I think the VFW really started picking up when I was like 18 or so and could really start booking shows and taking it seriously. My friend Mike Pallone and I used to run shows there a couple times a month. We would bring touring bands through, which was a new thing for us. James Heimer always did the posters for it, and you always had these awesome limited edition posters. But the VFW had almost like a legitimate venue feel to it, despite the fact that it was a floor show. It just became such a consistent thing. The veterans there were always awesome. VFW Mike, just this really, really drunk, consistently very drunk, very lewd, like Vietnam vet who loved us being there, and we could get away with pretty much whatever we wanted to do. We were diving off the pool tables, people were diving off of, like anything. They tried to build a little stage that was too small to play on, so people would jump off of that. And definitely some of the greatest memories of my life were spent at VFW Wall and the shows that we were able to put together there. Shine actually broke up right about the time I started going to shows for the first time, and so all I would ever hear was like the legend of Shine and about how, Shine played the fucking Warped Tour, man. No one else played the Warped Tour. Shine played the Warped Tour, and not just played the Warped Tour, but totally blew it up. Stage dives and all sorts of crazy shit. And to me, that was like, dude, the Warped Tour, really? Like, band from our town played the fucking Warped Tour, and you would just hear about how this band was, on the Scream and Be Heard comp. They were the bands, and I got to know Mooney. I actually got to go to Mooney's son's birthday party, and it was cool to get to know him and see him in his new band. He was an imprint, and I think he's a band Drop Anchor now with Buckley. Yeah, he's in a band called Drop Anchor now with Buckley. The biggest thing for me was definitely, from Lansdale were Leavenworth and the Minor Times. Those were the ones that were like right around the age range where, I had come into it. They were the bands that were kind of the heavyweights of Lansdale at the time. The Minor Times, you can't say enough about how much that band put into the performance, how much they put into the songwriting, how underappreciated they were. I think they could have been an international fucking sensation. People talk about bands that rip off Botch or, rip off Colas or rip off Dead Guy. Yeah, the Minor Times get lumped into that category, but they were way above and beyond that. The live show was fucking incredible. They were coming in with full stacks on both sides, 2 810s with a bass, a light show they would set up themselves and have Mark Price or George Koenig run it. I remember Brendan coming into venues and asking for the electrical schematics of it to run power cords around the place so they didn't blow the circuit out. They were loud and they were angry and they were tight as fuck and they were cool. And Leavenworth was just also, super tight, but just fast and fucking passionate and angry, but also had like a levity to it. The Leavenworth show, you never knew where there was going to be a joke right in the middle of the set, where that 4th and Broad show, right in the middle of the show where there was supposed to be a breakdown, Eric Kriebel will just turn on a techno song. Or, right before a big mosh part, everything would stop and it was a clip from Basketball or anything else. Just tons of samples. And Leavenworth was another one of the bands that was like one of the first bands from the town to start going on tour and to show us that it was possible to move outside of Lansdale and outside of Pennsylvania and start doing this more and more. Dysphoria, I only think I saw live twice, but holy shit, man. Dysphoria had so many moments during that set where it was the biggest impact of the night 4 or 5 times during one set. You can't say enough about Todd as a frontman. I think Dysphoria was the first MP3 I ever listened to on the internet. I listened to Burden, and I had to wait like an hour and a half for it to buffer. But the first time I heard that song, it was just like nothing had ever gotten me as excited at that point in my life about heavy music as Dysphoria had. The Pennsylvania hardcore scene, the Pennsylvania punk rock scene, shaped my entire existence. Like I said, I sing in a band now, and that's all that I do. And if it wasn't for local shows here, I would have had no chance at that at all. If it wasn't for the support and mentoring of the older guys, no chance at that at all. We still have John Bowes print our merch. We still have James Heimer do our designs. We're still kind of ingrained in this scene to a large effect. So I can't thank it enough. I guess it's an entity, but it shaped my entire life.